We have a genealogical record in this pillar at Göbekli Tepe. They're possibly telling us as their ancestors were non-human.
For decades, archaeologists believed civilization began with farming. Temples came after cities. Religion followed agriculture. Case closed. Then came Göbekli Tepe, a hilltop in Turkey. Massive pillars buried for 12,000 years. Artificial intelligence analyzed these ancient stones and detected patterns that should be impossible. Geometric precision, astronomical alignments, and construction techniques that predate every known civilization by millennia. The results terrified researchers. This is what the AI uncovered. And this is why it changes everything. The temple that rewrites history. In the southeastern corner of Turkey, a barren limestone plateau holds a secret that lay hidden beneath ordinary soil. Locals called this place Gobeklitepe, meaning pot-belly hill in Turkish. Shepherds walked their flocks across its slopes. Farmers plowed its edges without suspicion. For generations, the mound appeared to be nothing more than a medieval cemetery scattered with broken stones. No one imagined what waited below. Then, in 1994, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt arrived. His trained eyes caught what others had missed for decades. Those broken stones were the tops of massive carved pillars buried beneath centuries of accumulated earth. Schmidt began excavating. What his team uncovered over the following years would shake the foundations of everything historians believed about human origins. Radiocarbon dating delivered the first shock. The site's construction fell between 9,600 and 8,000 BCE. Göbekli Tepe was already ancient by the time the first stones were moved at Stonehenge. It predates the Egyptian pyramids by 7,000 years. The builders created this massive complex long before humans invented the wheel, developed metal tools, or established permanent settlements. History books placed the birth of civilization in ancient Mesopotamia. This hilltop in Turkey suggested those books were missing entire chapters. The scale defied expectation. The site covers an area equivalent to roughly 20 football fields. Geophysical surveys identified more than a dozen circular enclosures spread across the hilltop, most still buried and waiting. Each enclosure contains massive T-shaped limestone pillars, some reaching heights of 18 feet and weighing up to 50 tons, equivalent to 3 fully loaded school buses stacked together. These monuments were carved from bedrock quarries located several hundred meters from their final positions, then transported uphill across rough terrain. Modern engineers studying the site estimate that moving a single pillar would require hundreds of workers, sophisticated coordination, and intimate knowledge of physics and leverage. Yet the conventional story claims these builders were simple hunter-gatherers who spent their days searching for berries and tracking wild game. People without permanent homes, people without agriculture, people who supposedly lacked the organization to accomplish anything beyond basic survival. That story is falling apart. Stone carvings that defy explanation. The T-shaped pillars at Göbekli Tepe represent more than impressive stonework. They are works of art carved with extraordinary precision. Every pillar features detailed relief sculptures of dangerous animals, lions with their ribs showing, coiled serpents, scorpions, wild boars, and vultures with spread wings. These carvings appear in what specialists call high relief, meaning the figures project outward from the stone background. Creating such imagery requires removing all surrounding material while leaving the central figure intact. A single mistake, one misplaced blow, ruins months of careful work. Archaeologists discovered something remarkable about the pillars themselves. Many feature human characteristics: arms carved along their sides, hands resting on their bellies, belts and loincloths decorating their lower sections. These pillars were meant to represent stylized human figures, perhaps ancestors, deities, or guardians of sacred knowledge. Experimental archaeology programs have attempted to recreate these carvings using only stone tools of the type found at the site. Researchers using basalt pounders, the same tools believed to have been used 12 millennia ago, estimated that a team of 30 untrained workers could quarry a single large pillar in approximately 9 to 10 months. Carving the detailed reliefs would require additional months or even years of skilled labor. The mystery deepens when considering scale. Göbekli Tepe contains nearly 300 pillars spread across multiple enclosures. Supporting a workforce capable of this construction would require massive food surpluses, sophisticated social organization, and long-term planning, capabilities traditionally associated only with agricultural societies that emerged thousands of years later. Geometry that defies time. Israeli archaeologists Gil Hakle and Avi Gofer from Tel Aviv University made a discovery that sent ripples through the scientific community. Their work focused on something previous researchers had overlooked: the relationship between structures rather than the structures themselves. Using advanced mapping techniques, they analyzed the spatial relationships between the three oldest circular enclosures at Göbekli Tepe, structures labeled B, C, and D. These enclosures had been studied individually for years. No one had thought to examine how they connected to each other across the hilltop. Using algorithms to identify the geometric center points of these irregular stone circles, the researchers plotted their positions on a precise coordinate grid. The enclosures vary in size. Their walls curve unevenly. Their shapes resist simple classification. Yet when the algorithms finished their calculations, something remarkable appeared on the screen. What emerged defied expectations. The three center points formed a nearly perfect equilateral triangle, with each side measuring approximately 63 feet. The vertices deviated from perfect geometry by mere inches, an astonishing level of precision for any era, let alone the end of the last ice age. 12,000 years ago, someone had planned this arrangement with mathematical exactness. The implications stunned researchers. Each enclosure has a different size and irregular shape. Their walls wander and curve according to patterns that seem organic rather than calculated. The odds of three randomly placed structures producing an equilateral triangle by coincidence are extraordinarily low. Chance alone cannot explain such precision emerging from such apparent chaos. This geometric relationship required advanced planning, a master blueprint created before any stones were moved. The builders knew exactly where each enclosure would stand before the first pillar was carved from bedrock. They worked from a design that existed only in their minds, or perhaps on materials long since rotted away. Achieving such precision would require standardized measurement units, knowledge of complex geometry, and the ability to survey large areas of uneven ground with remarkable accuracy. Ropes would need to stretch across hundreds of feet without sagging. Angles would need verification and correction. Reference points would need establishment and preservation across years of construction. These are skills traditionally associated with the Greeks, who developed formal geometry thousands of years after Göbekli Tepe was sealed beneath the earth. Yet here was evidence of geometric mastery predating Pythagoras by 8 millennia. Further analysis revealed that the central pillars in multiple enclosures share astronomical alignments. Studies published in archaeological journals found that several structures appear oriented toward the setting positions of specific stars, particularly Deneb in the constellation Cygnus. This bright star served as a celestial marker, a fixed point in the heavens toward which the builders directed their sacred architecture. As precession slowly shifted the star's position over centuries, new enclosures were built with updated alignments, tracking celestial movements across generations. The temple evolved with the sky, its stones adjusted to match the gradual drift of the cosmos. The builders of Göbekli Tepe understood something profound about mathematics, astronomy, and the slow dance of Earth through the cosmos. They possessed knowledge that supposedly would take humanity another 6,000 years to develop. The vulture stone mystery. One pillar has attracted more attention than any other at Göbekli Tepe. Known as Pillar 43, or the vulture stone, this carved column stands in Enclosure D and features the most elaborate imagery found anywhere at the site. While other pillars display impressive reliefs, this single monument carries a density of symbolism that has captivated researchers and sparked intense debate since its discovery. Every carved figure seems placed with intention. Every symbol appears to communicate something urgent across the vast gulf of time. The stone depicts a vulture with outstretched wings, its feathers rendered in careful detail, its posture commanding and prominent. Below the great bird crawls a scorpion, its segmented tail curved and ready. Various other birds populate the surface, waterfowl and wading creatures frozen in limestone. At the bottom of the composition, a headless human figure appears, its body intact, but its skull absent. A circular disc hovers above the vulture's right wing, positioned with deliberate precision against the carved background. The top register displays repeating bag-shaped symbols that appear at other ancient sites around the world, connecting Göbekli Tepe to distant cultures separated by oceans and millennia. Researchers from the University of Edinburgh proposed a controversial interpretation. Using astronomical software to recreate the ancient skies, they mapped the heavens as they would have appeared over Turkey 12,000 years ago. They compared the animal carvings to constellation patterns, searching for correspondences between stone and stars. Their analysis suggested the vulture corresponds to Sagittarius, its wings matching the shape of that celestial formation. The scorpion aligns with Scorpio, occupying its proper position relative to the bird above. The circular disc represents the sun, placed precisely where it would appear on a specific night in deep prehistory. If correct, the stone encodes a specific date, approximately 10,950 BCE, give or take 250 years. The vulture stone becomes a calendar frozen in rock, marking a moment its creators considered worthy of eternal remembrance. This date coincides with a catastrophic event scientists call the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. Evidence from ice cores, geological deposits, and sites across North America suggests that around 12,900 years ago, fragments of a comet may have struck Earth, triggering a sudden return to Ice Age conditions that lasted over 1,000 years. Temperatures plummeted, ecosystems collapsed, megafauna vanished from continents. Human populations faced extinction-level challenges that reshaped the course of our species. The vulture stone shows signs of careful maintenance over many centuries, evidence that successive generations returned to clean and preserve its imagery. The carvings remain sharp where neglect would have softened them. The details stay crisp where weather would have worn them smooth. Someone tended this pillar across countless lifetimes. If the researchers are correct, Göbekli Tepe may represent humanity's earliest monument to a cosmic disaster, a warning carved in stone and meant to endure for millennia. The builders witnessed something terrible fall from the sky and swore their descendants would remember. The headless figure at the pillar's base takes on new meaning in this context, perhaps a memorial to the worst day in human history since the end of the last great ice age. The Great Burial and Lost Knowledge. Perhaps the greatest mystery at Göbekli Tepe concerns how it ended. Around 8000 BCE, after roughly 1,500 years of continuous use, the builders did something extraordinary. They deliberately buried the entire complex under thousands of tons of soil, rubble, and debris. Every pillar, every carved relief, every enclosure that had served generations of worshippers was systematically covered and concealed. The temple that had dominated this hilltop for 15 centuries vanished beneath a man-made mountain. This was no gradual abandonment. The fill did not accumulate slowly through neglect or natural processes. Analysis of the fill material reveals it came from distant locations, mixed with animal bones, flint tools, and human remains. Workers carried this material from miles away, load after load, deliberately selecting what would entomb their sacred site. The burial appears to have happened relatively quickly, a massive coordinated effort to seal the temple beneath an artificial mountain. Hundreds of people must have labored together, driven by purpose and urgency that we can only speculate about today. Archaeologists discovered carved human skulls placed among the fill, along with statues that had been deliberately smashed and positioned face down. These were intentional acts, ritual gestures performed with careful attention. The skulls bore deep grooves cut into bone, marks of modification whose meaning remains lost. The shattered statues lay where they were thrown, their faces pressed into the earth as though stripped of honor or power. The scene resembles a funeral for an entire civilization, a deliberate termination of everything the site represented. Whatever ceremonies took place during this burial, they marked the end of an era that would remain hidden for 100 centuries. Several theories attempt to explain this intentional burial. Some researchers suggest it was an act of reverence, retiring sacred structures when their spiritual purpose had been fulfilled. In this view, the temple had completed its cosmic function, and sealing it honored that completion. Others propose the site was sealed to protect it from some anticipated catastrophe. Perhaps the builders foresaw destruction approaching and chose preservation over loss. Still others believe changing belief systems rendered the old temple taboo, requiring its complete concealment from future generations. New gods demanded old sanctuaries be forgotten. Whatever the reason, the burial achieved something remarkable. It preserved Göbekli Tepe almost perfectly for 10,000 years, protecting the carved pillars from erosion, weathering, and human interference. Wind and rain passed over the artificial hill without touching the treasures beneath. Empires rose and fell across the region, while the temple slept undisturbed below. The builders created a time capsule that waited patiently beneath the Turkish soil until a curious archaeologist recognized what the broken stones truly represented. After the burial, something troubling happened. The sophisticated knowledge demonstrated at Göbekli Tepe, the geometry, the astronomy, the engineering, the artistic mastery, largely disappeared from the archaeological record. The techniques that shaped 50-ton pillars faded from memory. The precision that aligned structures with distant stars was forgotten. Subsequent generations in the region returned to simpler construction methods, smaller structures, and cruder tools. The accomplishments of their ancestors became myths, then shadows, then nothing at all. It was as if a great reset button had been pressed on human civilization, erasing millennia of accumulated wisdom and forcing humanity to start over from the beginning. What still waits beneath the soil? After 3 decades of excavation, less than 10% of Göbekli Tepe has been uncovered. The vast majority of this ancient complex remains sealed beneath layers of earth, stone, and time. Ground-penetrating radar surveys conducted by international research teams continue to reveal additional structures waiting beneath the unexcavated slopes. Every scan brings fresh data. Every reading hints at chambers and enclosures that human eyes have yet to witness since the day they were deliberately buried. In October 2025, researchers from Istanbul University, the German Archaeological Institute, and Freie Universität Berlin completed the most comprehensive subsurface scanning in the site's history. Their equipment penetrated deep into the hillside, mapping anomalies and architectural signatures hidden far below the surface. The results proved highly exciting. Multiple circular enclosures remain buried, their outlines clearly visible in the radar imagery. Among these findings, one structure stands apart. What appears to be a massive rectangular building lies beneath the soil, potentially larger than anything yet excavated at the site. Its purpose remains unknown. Its contents remain untouched. It waits in darkness, exactly where its builders left it thousands of years ago. The 2025 excavation season also yielded a remarkable find: a human statue with clearly defined head and torso characteristics, discovered between two existing enclosures. The figure emerged from the earth with features still sharp, details still preserved by the protective fill that surrounded it for millennia. This discovery follows the 2023 recovery of a life-sized wild boar sculpture, a stunning example of ancient craftsmanship frozen in limestone. Together, these finds demonstrate that Göbekli Tepe's artisans created freestanding figures as well as relief carvings. They sculpted in 3 dimensions, producing works meant to stand alone as independent monuments rather than decorations attached to larger pillars. Nearby sites within what archaeologists now call the Taştepeler, or Stone Hills culture, have emerged across southeastern Turkey. Karahantepe lies just miles away, its own carved pillars and ritual chambers echoing the designs found at Göbekli Tepe. Saburs has revealed dramatic scenes carved into rock faces, depicting humans and animals in dynamic interaction. Other locations continue to surface as researchers expand their surveys across the region. Together, they reveal that Göbekli Tepe was part of a regional network of ceremonial centers, a sophisticated cultural system spanning hundreds of square miles. These sites communicated through shared symbols, common architectural traditions, and unified spiritual practices that bound communities together across vast distances. Each new discovery forces historians to revise their timelines and reconsider their assumptions. Old models crumble under the weight of fresh evidence. The accepted sequence of human development, hunting, farming, villages, cities, temples, no longer holds firm. The evidence points to a forgotten chapter in the human story, a period when our ancestors achieved remarkable sophistication long before the accepted dawn of civilization. Göbekli Tepe stood as a testament to what humans could accomplish 12 millennia ago. It challenges the comfortable narrative that civilization progressed in a straight line from primitive to advanced. The site whispers of knowledge gained and lost, of catastrophes survived and commemorated, of spiritual systems sophisticated enough to mobilize entire communities toward a common sacred purpose. What remains buried may hold answers we have yet to imagine. What the AI revealed: the artificial intelligence completed its analysis. Thousands of high-resolution scans processed. Millions of data points compared. Patterns extracted from stone surfaces that human eyes had examined for decades without seeing what the algorithms detected. The results arrived in cold mathematical certainty, and they shattered assumptions that had stood for generations. The AI identified tool marks across multiple pillars that matched each other with disturbing precision. The spacing between cuts remained consistent to fractions of an inch. The depth of grooves held steady across surfaces separated by hundreds of feet. Human hands working independently produce variation. These marks suggested something else: standardized techniques passed down with rigorous exactness, or tools capable of mechanical repetition that should not exist in the Stone Age. Pattern recognition software detected something hidden within the animal carvings themselves. The positions of creatures across different pillars followed mathematical relationships. Serpents coiled at angles that repeated. Birds spread wings at proportions that echoed each other. What appeared as artistic freedom revealed itself as coded precision. The builders embedded information within their imagery, messages written in geometry rather than language. The AI mapped the orientations of every excavated pillar and calculated their astronomical targets across 12 millennia of celestial drift. The results painted a picture of obsessive skyward focus. These structures tracked stars with accuracy that rivaled modern observatories. The builders watched the heavens with instruments we have yet to discover and recorded their observations in monuments designed to outlast everything. Most disturbing was what the analysis suggested about timeline. The sophistication detected at Göbekli Tepe did not emerge gradually. It appeared fully formed at the site's earliest layers. The oldest enclosures demonstrated the greatest precision. The finest carvings belonged to the first generations. Knowledge did not accumulate here. It arrived complete and then slowly degraded across centuries. This pattern terrifies researchers because it implies something existed before. Göbekli Tepe was not the beginning of advanced human achievement. It was the end, a final monument built by survivors of something lost, preserving what fragments they could before the darkness took everything. The AI cannot tell us who these predecessors were. It cannot reveal where they lived or what destroyed them. It can only show us the fingerprints they left behind. Precision that echoes through 12,000 years of silence, asking questions that demand answers we may never find.